Today we're here to talk about municipal aggregation and what's going on in the town, kind of where we've been, where we are, and kind of where we're going. So currently this process has taken a long time. It's past town meeting, the select board. After the select board approved the plan that creates the opportunity for this, it went on to the Department of Energy Resources. After the Department of Energy Resources passed the plan, gave us a letter of approval, we went on to the Department of Public Utilities. That was approved earlier this year. Once we received our approval, now we're here. Meaning, what have we done? This program is to aggregate everyone's basic service. If you have National Grid, everyone here has National Grid. If you have National Grid as your supplier, you've been pooled into a large purchasing group. We've gone out into the marketplace and procured energy on your behalf. The good news is you get to decide whether or not you want that energy. So this program, all it really does for you is lower your electricity, brings you a choice. So to the end user, what does it mean? What happens? Literally nothing but a line item change. So I brought I happen to live in a town that has an aggregation as well. So the only thing that's going to change is you currently have one page on your bill. You'll now have 2 pages, and it will say on the back page, this is the only thing that's going to change, is the supply portion of your bill. Currently on your bill, everyone here, I'm assuming, is a basic service customer. They may or may not be, but on people that have basic service, the delivery is a monopoly. That's National Grid gets those charges. They're approved by the Department of Public Utilities. It's an unregulated piece of the bill. What we have done is on the supply side, supply of services, procured energy on behalf of the residents, Tyngsborough, at a lower rate than National Grid. Currently, for the next 2 weeks, you're going to be paying the 9432. Unfortunately, that rate is going to go to 12673. So it's about it's a big increase. But through this program, they were able to procure green, covered by wind recs, at 11.7. So almost a penny below the basic service rate. The full rate, just in case people are writing it down, it's going to be 11.723. And that's with Next Era Energy Services. You had a question, ma'am?
No, I just wanted the name.
Oh, Next Era Energy Services is who's on your bill. So what do you need to do? What does this mean? Literally, you don't need to do a thing. Everyone will be automatically switched with the November meter read. It doesn't require you to do anything. The lower rate will be automatically applied to your bill. If you have a problem moving forward, National Grid is still your distribution company. So let's just say there's a problem with your meter. The power goes out. You have an issue with your bill. Who are you going to call? National Grid. All of that's still going to stay the same. National Grid does the billing, all of those issues. So there isn't 2 bills. If you're currently on a low income discount, you have a farm credit, budget billing, any of those issues, they all stay in place. Those are all distribution company, I'll call them benefits, and they're going to all stay in place. People that have net metering, i.e. solar on their roofs, or have signed a net metering contract for community solar, that doesn't change either, but I just want to explain what's going to happen. It's a financial transaction, and for this winter, it's a winner-winner chicken dinner. The reason I'm going to tell you that is the utility is always going to pay you the basic service rate. So if you have a solar array on your roof or in the yard, National Grid's going to pay you the 12,673. But your supply is only going to be the 11.7. Win-win. But let's say at some time in the future, the town signs a 2-year contract and the rate was to fall below. The basic service rate fell below, so I'm just going to make up a scenario. Basic service rate is 9, town's rate is 10. In that scenario, if you have those solar panels on your roof, you're certainly going to want to opt out because National Grid is going to pay you the 9 cents, but your supply is going to be the 10 cents. Does that make sense? So moving forward, just to kind of round out exactly what's going to happen, you don't need to do a thing. National Grid is still your distribution company. If there's an issue, this program addresses the electron running through the wire. If there's an issue, more likely than not, you're going to call National Grid. Because there aren't many times that the electron is the problem. It's probably National Grid that's going to handle that. If there is an issue, you can certainly call Colonial Power Group. The town has hired us to help answer these questions. And we're at 866-485-5858, and extension 1 will get you all your answers. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'll say it 10 times. Once. 866-485-5858, extension 1.
It's right on the.
Yes.
It's on your paper.
Yes.
That you got in the mail.
So, kind of, the town has signed a 6-month contract that takes you from your November meter read through your April meter read. At some point over the next 6 months, we'll be in touch with the town, and we'll discuss going back out into the marketplace to procure, and there's lots of choices. The poor manager had a lot of choices that most people aren't used to. So it could have been a 6-month, 12, 18, 24, 30, or 36 months for green standard product. Any of those can be done with aggregation. So depending upon where the market is, depends on what the manager is going to do in the future. And if we knew what the market was going to do in the future, I would have us all down to the Caribbean and enjoy this there. But we don't know what the market will do. So at that time, that's when he'll be making the decision. The energy market, no different than the stock market in a sense. Changes every hour to hour of every day. So it's nothing more than bringing competition to the marketplace and trying to drive down costs. So at this time, I'm going to open it up, but I just want to make sure that everyone understands, from your standpoint, you don't need to do anything other than check your bill and make sure, so I can tell you, most people that are on basic service have a single bill. National Grid changes your bill to be 2 pages, so you'll see 2 pages in your bill, but it'll just be the lower rate. And as long as you have that 11723, you're in the program. It will, by the way, the supplier's name is right there on the bill. I'm happy to pass this around. In Marlboro, TransCanada is them, and there's a 1-800 number. So if you ever have an issue, you can always go to your bill and touch base with the supplier. But like I said, most of the problems that you and I have don't have anything to do with the energy portion of it. Question, ma'am.
Yeah. How do you determine your rate structure?
So the rate structure comes in. We have an open bidding process. So there was 4 bidders, and the way the rate structure actually works is we use National Grid's rate structure as far as residential, commercial, industrial. The town opted on a single rate across all classes. I'm going to tell you why. Most of the G3 load, that's the large industrial users, are already out on competitive supply. They've been doing it for years. I'm sure the town buildings are out that way as well. The smaller mom and pop, maybe a pizza store or a small local convenience store, aren't normally out as much. Those are the people this program aims to help the most. So that's why they went with the single rate. Does that make sense? But there are 3 rate classes. The town chose to put them all together so everyone is paying the same rate.
Couple questions. So
Please.
If I'm doing the math right, we're saving 1 cent per kilowatt hour.
Just under 1 cent is correct. Yes.
And that,
Yep.
and that only goes till May.
That goes till May. That's correct.
So what happens in May? They're gonna take another bid from potential suppliers, but we don't know what that rate's gonna be.
That's correct.
Is that gonna be published?
Absolutely.
When?
It depends when we go out. As soon as it's out, it will always be, let me state this, on colonialpowergroup.com. I don't know if everyone here uses it or not, but on that, the internet, where certainly all of the rates and the basic service rates are found right there, so you can always do an apples-to-apples comparison, what your rate is and what the basic service rate is.
Right, so for every 6-month contract, ahead of that will be a published rate?
Correct. Correct. Always, we will, whenever. Now, the one thing I will say is, if the town did a 2-year rate, we wouldn't publish it for probably another, I'd say 20 months or so, when the next one was going to come, when the next rate was going to come. You had more questions? No? Question? I'm sorry, once I apologize, I'll get to you next.
Who pays you, town?
So our fee is 0.001, and I'm going to use it right. I just want to make sure I'm telling you correctly. So the rate that the town would have paid would have been 0.11623. Our rate is 1 mil or 0.001 per kilowatt hour.
So they still save,
That's correct.
even having to hire someone to administer this.
That's correct. Yes. The town doesn't pay. Well, in a sense, everyone pays, but the town doesn't pay. Okay. So just to give you an idea, everyone pays their bill. All goes to National Grid. National Grid takes the portion that's theirs, the delivery service, the supply services. They take that and they send them a check each month. That's the way it behind the scenes works. Just 1 second, sir.
National Grid has something to do with low-income fuel assistance.
Yes.
Is this going to affect it if you go to yours?
No, you'll still receive that benefit. If you're on budget billing, if you have a low income, all of that. Oh yeah, fuel assistance. All of that is still a National Grid distribution side of the bill benefit. You'll continue to receive it.
Okay. Because I Rose asked that.
Yep.
To Tracy.
Yes, sir.
So most utilities have an annual review they submit a proposal to increase their rates.
Yes.
And I think they're going through that right now.
So National Grid did it last year. NSTAR is going through it right now and poorly.
Right, okay.
Big. National Grid got $101 million last year. That's the other side of the bill.
Right, does that have anything to do with the supply side?
Unfortunately, it does not. It does not. So they have something called a basic service cost adjustment that gets approved by the Department of Public Utilities, but not part of their rate case, sir. So their rate case is to increase the distribution side of the bill, and this is simply the supply side. I'll give you a little background. So National Grid is no longer in the generation business. They actually support these programs. The reason they support these programs is from their side, and this is a little inside baseball, they're like, all we do is get beaten up on these and there's nothing we can do. The Department of Public Utilities allows them to go out twice a year and procure energy on your behalf. One time in March for 50% of their needs from May 1st through April 30th. Then they go out and buy again in September for a November start, which you're seeing right now, through October. Where those two buys overlap, that's their price. They just overlay those two buys. So those hedge positions from those two purchases, one in March and one in September, that's your price for this winter. That's why we have a little bit of an advantage doing aggregation. I have 210 trading days compared to their two. Yes, ma'am.
So our energy is going to come from Next Era Energy Services?
That's correct.
And that's a green? Is that a green?
So they're going to purchase WinRex. So I want to make sure that I'm clear. It's still standard service. So, but they're going to, the way we're allowed to call energy green, they have no way of getting energy from a windmill directly to your house. So what they've done is they've created a fictitious security for every megawatt used. So they buy WindRex out of Texas, apply them to the load used by the Tyngsborough consumers. For every megawatt used, they buy Rex for that. We're allowed to call it green.
Okay, so is any of this, so this is, all right, it's not really coming from Texas, but they're supporting the Texas wind power.
That's exactly correct.
So is it coming, so the electricity that we're getting, is it coming from like Niagara Falls or, I mean, where is it
So
coming from?
it's not going to change. Believe it or not, energy works exactly the way you would think. It's not technical at all. Where there is supply, where there is demand, supply will go. So when you flip your switch, it's the closest place that has energy on the grid.
Okay.
So who's ever putting it on in ISO New England, I'm not sure where the closest plant is here. It used to be, you probably would have got most of your energy from Vermont Yankee back in the day, but that's now closed, so I'm not certain. It's almost certainly a combined cycle natural gas plant somewhere in the area, though.
Okay, but this group supports the wind power out of Texas.
That's exactly correct, and that's how we're able to call something green. It's just a financial security that was made up to color your energy green. Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure if I missed something when I went out. My electricity is supplied by New Energy Inc. out of Texas.
Yes.
Now, I'm assuming they're gonna change pretty soon. I also did not send in the card.
You got the card,
I got the card.
Now
I think I
that-
thought it was junk.
which is fine. Do you mind if I look at your bill, ma'am? Because you shouldn't have got the card because you have a competitive supplier.
Okay. That explains that.
No, I don't know what the joke is.
There is no-
Oh, okay. So only people on basic service are going to get the card. If you are on competitive supply, you've made a choice, like the town has done for those who have not. So you can always join this program. That's not a problem. You just want to check with your supplier. You actually have more choices than most. So you now know what the town's rate is. You know what the National Grid's rate's going to be. You can call the supplier, make sure there's no fee or penalty to leave. And then you can say to the supplier, hey, I'm happy with you. If you want me to beat this rate, I'm willing to stay with you. That's not a problem at all.
I am a shopper.
Yes, that's good. What is the rate on that, if you don't mind me asking?
.0979.
That's a winner all day long. I expect that to go up, though.
I'm assuming that as well.
Yep, I would expect that to go up. But that's a very good rate for this winter. Very, very good rate.
Okay.
But people that are on competitive supply, for one more time, you wouldn't have received this mailing. This mailing is for people that get their supply from National Grid, called Basic Service. That doesn't mean you can't join. The manager asks that the plan have flexibility so people can come and go as many times as they want without fee or penalty. So if for some reason you're unsure, you think the power is going to go out, I just want you to know the power will never go out with this program. It has nothing to do with the power. This is nothing more than a financial transaction. Physical power is the physical power. But for some reason, I'm concerned. You're out of the program. Geez, I wish I had stayed in. Simple phone call to either Next Era or Colonial will get you right in on your next meter read. 6 months from now, you're unhappy with, for some reason, I don't want to be in the program anymore. Opt out of the program. You don't have to worry about a fee or penalty. The manager made sure there was no fee or penalty and opt in and opt out at your will. So they're truly bringing the town a choice that you haven't had in prior years. And you have more choices than most.
Yay!
Correct. I apologize. Any further questions? Yes?
Will the colonial number be on the bill at all?
It is not on the bill. It is not on the bill. But I'm happy to leave you my card.
I figured out, but
It is very easy to find, and it is. I left some questions and answers in case people didn't get everything that they wanted. On this sheet has our numbers right on it. I'm happy to give you the number again, ma'am. You had a question. This woman here had a question, I believe. Oh, maybe you were waving to me. I don't know. Maybe you're waving to your husband. Yes.
My question is, why couldn't we have gotten a better rate through this other, if they're all competing? It's such a small difference when you do the math, as you say. But I would think that maybe, is there somebody else out there? Are there other places that we can try to get this at a lower rate?
Oh, and we're trying every day, and more competition is coming into the market. But I'll tell you exactly. So the Department of Public Utilities says an average consumer, you'll have to look at your bill, it's about 600 kilowatt hours. It's about $5.70 a month, the difference between basic service and this. So over the 6 months, you're looking at around $30, $35 savings. The goal is to, from my standpoint, drive down the cost as low as I can. This was the best price out of the people willing to serve aggregations in Massachusetts.
Well, sometimes it seems that, I've been in retail for many, many years, that if they just give it to you for just a tiny bit less, okay, let's go over there and buy it there. But I'm just surprised that we couldn't find anything just with a little more savings. I mean, the town.
Yeah, I did the best I could. I kid you not. I'm in the marketplace every day, all day, and that day, that's what was served.
Yeah, to clarify, Mark, there were a lot of bigger towns too, and they were all getting basically the same offers. They all know what everyone's paying on National Grid, so I think there's probably no real incentive for them to go more than a penny under. They're not going to go 2 or 3 pennies under when they know you're stuck with National Grid, or you can go with them for a penny less. They really have you right where they want you.
So I will say that the bad news is with rates high, like 2 years ago, I expect everyone, I happen to be a National Grid customer myself, we're gonna get 3 mailings a week, 5 phone calls, you know, it's gonna be going on now that, you know, I expect to see this in December and January especially. As that rate starts to show up on people's bills, the phone calls from the boiler rooms are gonna start up, and I apologize, but it's just what's going to happen with 12.673.